If you've watched my channel for a while, you'll probably know that I really like Spelunky. In fact, the 2 Spelunky Easter egg videos that I made were the videos that got me into making YouTube videos again. And this changed my channel from a cringy Let's Play channel to a more design-focused discussion channel. It was only a matter of time before I decided to make a dedicated video talking about the game design behind Spelunky. And there is certainly a lot to talk about, such as its difficulty or its level generation. But today we're going to break down how Spelunky combines the genres of roguelikes and platformers. Believe it or not, randomly smashing 2 genres together just because you like them is usually not a good way to design a game. Mixing and matching genres is hard because every genre has some core reason why people are attached to it. People play real-time strategy games because they enjoy the resource management and strategy required to be proficient in the genre. People play puzzle games to solve problems using logic and deep understanding of game mechanics. People play role-playing games to experience compelling stories with memorable characters. This is why mixing genres is so tricky. People who start playing a game to experience one genre's core mechanics, but it distracts them from the genre that they're trying to enjoy. Leveling systems are a good example of a mechanic that has been taken straight from RPGs and shoved into as many games as possible, even if a leveling system is not a good fit for that game. People who dislike the micromanagement that the leveling system can bring might be turned away from the other genre that they may have enjoyed. There are, of course, advantages to mixing genres. When 2 genres are effectively combined, you can help fix the downfalls of both genres. Let's look at the history and core mechanics of roguelikes and platformers to see how Derek Yu combined these 2 genres in Spelunky. In the 1980s, roguelikes were popularized by Rogue, hence the name. After Rogue came out, many games were released closely following the formula laid out in Rogue. NetHack and Moira are notable examples. While they did add in some new mechanics, they did not stray too far from the mechanics laid out in Rogue. The main gameplay revolves around permadeath and randomly generated dungeons. In 2008, several leading roguelike developers codified what was and what was not a roguelike. The developers met in Berlin and laid out 9 high-value factors and 6 low-value factors that roguelikes had to have in order to be a roguelike. This is known as the Berlin interpretation, and includes factors like procedural generation of dungeons, permadeath, turn-based gameplay, non-modal mechanics, complexity, resource management, hacking and slashing, and exploration as high-value factors. I will get back to these when I talk about how Derek combines the genres, but for now, just know that the Berlin interpretation is a little bit controversial. Platformers are also one of the earliest video game genres, and have been popular ever since the days of arcade gaming. Platformers at their core are all about moving through space, be it 2D or 3D. Typically, they have a focus on jumping, or other acrobatic maneuvers that allow the player to move through space in elegant ways. In his book about the design of Spelunky, Derek Yu describes the strengths and weaknesses of the 2 genres. I asked myself, what is it I liked about platformers? I'm more of an action game player, and I like how easy they are to pick up and play. I like the tension behind each jump. What don't I like about platformers? I didn't like the repetitiveness of playing on the same levels over and over again, and the reliance on memorizing level layouts to succeed. What did I like about roguelikes? I liked the variety that randomly generated levels offer, and how meaningful death is in them. What didn't I like about roguelikes? I didn't like the repetitiveness of certain tasks that were required to succeed, like polypiling and reliance on memorizing console commands. This strikes at the core of why Spelunky combined platformers and roguelikes so well. It works because the 2 genres play into each other, fixing problems with the other genre. Traditional roguelikes have a reputation for being highly complex for newcomers, what with their command prompts and ASCII graphics. On the other hand, platformers tend to be a lot easier for new players to pick up and understand, at least more so than old-school roguelikes. Roguelikes also solve problems found in platformers. As Derek Yu said, platformers can get repetitive over repeat playthroughs since the levels don't really change. Players can also focus on memorizing aspects of the level instead of focusing on the underlying mechanics. The roguelike mechanics solve this by generating a brand new set of levels every time the player dies, so the player never has a chance to get bored of going through the same levels over and over again. They also remove the player's ability to memorize paths through a level, encouraging players to learn about Spelunky's mechanics and moveset instead. When Derek Yu chose to combine these two genres, it was not random. The genres he chose were like yin and yang, which describes two forces seemingly opposite to each other that are actually complementary. By combining these two genres, Derek can achieve the benefits of both. In this case, Derek developed a roguelike that is surprisingly easy to learn, but can take hours to master, and can be played thousands and thousands of times, and yet still have new tricks up its sleeve. The roguelike elements also make death much more impactful in Spelunky, something platformers struggle to accomplish. Players cannot get away with sloppy platforming and expect to get through the game, which forces players to focus on improving their skills in general. Derek was also not afraid to discard elements of roguelikes that did not fit in well with platformers. Looking back at the Berlin interpretation, there are many, quote, high-value factors that Derek did not include in Spelunky. The complexity previous roguelikes are known for is not present in Spelunky, and there is very little in terms of resource management. These mechanics would not have fit well into a platformer, which tend to be easy to learn yet hard to master, meaning that a complex moveset would not really have been a good fit. Likewise, an inventory screen and resource management would have slowed the quick pace of platformers down to a crawl. Derek was not afraid to throw out mechanics that did not fit in with the other genre, and Spelunky is much better for it. Another thing to keep in mind is the aesthetic of play. Let me ask you a question. When you play a Mario game, or really any other platformer, what would you say the main appeal of the genre is? There's a good chance that you said that you play because you like overcoming the obstacle that these sorts of games can offer. Sure, there may be other reasons why you play a platformer, like the story for instance, but chances are the difficulty is at least one of the reasons why you're playing the game. What about roguelikes? Challenge in overcoming an obstacle is once again one of the core reasons why people play that genre. The 8 aesthetics of play were proposed by Robin Hernickel, Marc LeBlanc, and Robert Zubek. They are sensation, fellowship, narrative, challenge, discovery, expression, and submission. They propose that these 8 aesthetics of play are the 8 core reasons why people play games. It is important to note that most games deliver on several of these aesthetics at the same time. Team Fortress 2 has a strong fellowship aesthetic with the players on your team, but it also has a strong competitive aesthetic from the fight between the two teams. When looking at platformers and roguelikes, Derek realized that while the mechanics that the different genres employed to achieve the feeling of challenge was different, the core reasons why people played them were the same. So when he combined platformers and roguelikes in Spelunky, people still played the game to overcome the obstacles it presented, just like they did when they played roguelikes and platformers separately. If Derek had combined a story-heavy RPG and roguelikes, I doubt it would have gone as well, because people who played the RPGs for the narrative aesthetic might have been put off by the fact that they had to restart their story every time someone died. If you can keep your core aesthetics the same between your two genres, you'll have a much easier time combining them. In summary, when combining genres, a designer should look to fix the downfalls of each of the genres they're combining, in a way that provides a completely unique experience that each of the game genres could not achieve on their own. They should also make sure that the core aesthetics of the genre that the designers choose to combine are not conflicting with each other. Spelunky is a game that blends these genres really well, and I hope that looking at it as a case study has helped shed some light on how designers can go about combining genres in an effective way. I also wanted to take some time to thank all of my viewers, and my subscribers as well, because I just passed the 100 subscriber mark, which 6 months ago I thought that this point would be impossible, and it's only possible thanks to my wonderful subscribers. So thank you guys for helping me get to this point. I really appreciate it. Till next time, this has been Chariot Rider. Have a good day.